He hired a homeless woman to impress an investor and save his bankrupt diner. What he did not know, the man who came to buy his business was the same monster his new cook had fled to protect her child. Now one signature stands between salvation and betrayal. Ethan Miller does not know that yet. He still believes his only enemy is death. Right now he just stands in the middle of his empty diner in Maple Ridge, Michigan, listening to the buzz of a broken neon sign and the ticking of the wall clock that does not match any schedule anymore. Chairs are flipped upside down on tables. The smell of grease and coffee still clings to the air, but the closed sign on the door is not temporary this time. Today, it is final. He runs his hand along the counter where his dad used to stand, pouring coffee and telling stories. His fingers stop on a scratch in the laminate, a memory carved by some kid fork years ago. The place feels heavy and hollow at the same time, like a body after the soul leaves. In his pocket, his phone vibrates. He knows who it is without looking, Chase from the bank. The guy is too cheerful for someone who calls about overdue payments. Ethan does not answer. Instead, he walks back into the kitchen one more time, more out of habit than anything else. The walk-in fridge still holds onions, carrots, a box of frozen chicken, a couple sleeves of burger buns nobody ordered. He promised himself he'd donate it all to the food pantry before it goes bad. It is the last decent thing he can do with this place. He pushes open the back door to take the trash out and freezes. There, in the narrow space behind the diner, between the dumpster and the brick wall, a woman sits on an upside-down milk crate, holding a little girl wrapped in a too thin pink jacket. The girl's feet dangle above the cracked concrete. Their faces twist toward the sudden light, like they've been living in the dark. For a second, nobody moves. The woman's eyes widen. Her hair is pulled back in a messy knot, and there's a tightness in her jaw that looks like it's been there for months. "I am sorry," she says immediately, voice hoarse but polite. "We go. I did not realize anyone was still here." The girl tightens her grip on the woman's coat, but does not say a word. Ethan's first instinct is defense. This is still his property. If something happens here, it is his name on the insurance, his name on the police report. He opens his mouth to tell them the CA not stay. Then he notices the grocery bag at the woman's feet. 2 plastic containers from his diner, the cheap white kind with the blue logo fading on the lid. Somebody from his staff must have been leaving food out back for them for weeks, maybe months, and he never even noticed. "How long have you been behind my diner?" he asks, and his own voice sounds strange to him, tired, not angry. The woman swallows. "A little while. We do not sleep here every night. Just some nights. Your waitress, the blonde with the bangs, she used to bring us leftovers at closing. Said the owner would not mind." She hesitates. "If that is not true, I am sorry. We leave now." He pictures Lisa, his night shift waitress, stuffing containers at the end of the night, laughing it off as saving food from the dumpster. He thought she was just snacking in her car. Ethan feels something crack open inside his chest. Guilt, maybe, or shame. The diner failed under his watch. His staff looked after strangers better than he did. "What is your name?" he asks. "Claire," she says. "This is Maddie." Maddie peeks up at him with huge brown eyes, cheeks chapped from the cold. She looks like she is trying to figure out if he is the type of grown-up who yells first or thinks first. He glances back at the dark kitchen, the shelves full of food nobody will buy, the tables nobody will ever sit at again. "You do not have to leave right this second," he says slowly. "The place is closed, but I have not handed over the keys yet. I've got food in there that is going to go bad if no one eats it." He forces himself to meet Claire's eyes. "You too hungry?" She does not nod right away. He can see the calculation behind her hesitation, pride, fear, survival, all wrestling at once. "You do not have to," she starts. "I did not ask if I have to," he says, trying for a small smile and almost getting there. "I asked if you hungry." Maddie's stomach answers with a low growl that all 3 of them hear. Claire lets out a breath that sounds like defeat and relief twisted together. "Yeah," she says softly. "We hungry." Minutes later, they sit in a corner booth, the overhead lights turned on for the first time since he flipped the closed sign. Maddie kicks her heels against the vinyl seat while Ethan sets down plates. Mac and cheese, scrambled eggs, toast, whatever he can throw together fast. Claire keeps thanking him like every forkful is a loan she'll never be able to repay. He shrugs it off, but each thank you lands heavy. You can stay here for a few nights, he hears himself say. The words are out before he thinks them through. It's warmer than outside. There's a couch in my office. Shower in the back. I'm just closing things up for good, so nobody else will be around. Claire's eyes fill, and she looks away quickly, blinking hard. We do not have any money, she says. I do not want you to think. I do not want your money. Ethan cuts in. If you want to do something, maybe help me clean out the place. Use up the food. Saves me a trip hauling it all out. It sounds simple when he says it, like they doing him a favor. Later, when Maddie falls asleep on the office couch with an old diner apron for a blanket, Claire stands at the doorway, arms wrapped around herself. Why are you doing this? She asks quietly. He looks at the old family pictures on the office wall, his dad in his apron, his mom at the register, all of them believing this place would outlive them. Because I should have seen you sooner, he says. And I did not. The next morning, Chase from the bank finally gets him on the phone. Ethan, good news, Chase says. We've got a serious buyer. Solid portfolio, big plans. He wants a quick closing. If inspection goes well, and we like the collateral, we can roll your debt into the sale and get you out clean. You just have to make the place look alive one more time. Ethan looks out through the office window at Claire wiping down tables in the empty dining room. Maddie carefully lining up salt shakers like tiny soldiers. What do you mean? Make it look alive, he asks. The guy wants to see the diner running. Chase says. One night, lights on, food on plates, people eating. P.S. bringing a bank rep and a couple city folks. Think of it like a stage show. You pull it off, we wipe your slate. Ethan's throat goes dry. When? Next Friday, Chase says. This is your last best shot, man. Do not blow it. He hangs up and just stands there, the phone heavy in his hand. Sell the diner, walk away from years of debt and failure. Watch someone else turn it into whatever they want. Or keep it, somehow, with no money, no staff, no hope, except for the woman currently scrubbing his boots like they still matter. He steps out into the dining room. Ever cooked for more than 2 people at once? He asks. Claire looks up, confused, holding a damp rag in one hand. I used to, she says slowly. What? Ethan takes a breath that feels like standing on the edge of a roof. Because next Friday, he says, we might have to cook the most important dinner of my life. The days leading up to Friday tighten around Ethan like a belt he see not loosen. Every morning he wakes to the smell of coffee and something warm in the air, scrambled eggs, biscuits, cheap bacon Claire found in the back of the freezer and turned into something that actually tastes like comfort. Every night he falls asleep at his desk to the faint sound of Maddie whispering to herself, making up stories with sugar packets and ketchup bottles. He tries not to get used to it. He tells himself this is temporary. A week, 2 at most. Then the sale goes through, the debt's clear, and whatever happens to Claire and Maddie after that is not his responsibility. The thought makes his chest ache anyway. The first time he tastes Clarice cooking for real, it happens by accident. She's in the kitchen, humming softly, moving with the quiet rhythm of someone who knows their way around a stovetop. He is supposed to be sorting through invoices and vendor contracts, but the smell drags him in like a rope. What is that? He asks. She startles a little. Just chicken and rice, she says. I found some stock. Did not want it to go to waste. He takes a bite straight from the pan. For a moment, he goes absolutely still. It's not fancy, there's no garnish, but the flavor hits him like a memory. Lemon, garlic, something you see not quite name, but it tastes like the nights when the diner was full and people stayed for dessert just to have an excuse to linger. It tastes like hope. You did this with box stock and freezer chicken? He asks. She looks almost guilty. Added a few things. It's nothing special. It is, he says, more sharply than he intends. It is special. Maddie laughs from the hallway. Mom's food is better than restaurant food, she announces. Dad used to say that. Before. Claire cuts her off with a look. Maddie presses her lips together and stares at the floor. Before what? Ethan wonders. But he does not push. Not yet. Instead, he says, I want you to cook Friday night. Her head snaps up. For your buyer? For whoever shows up, he says. We need this place to look alive. Your cooking makes it feel alive. She shakes her head immediately. No, that is not a good idea. You do not know who? I know ICA not afford a real chef, he cuts in. I know we have food that needs to be used. And I know whatever you made in that pan tastes better than anything I've served here in the last 2 years. I'm not asking for free. If the sale goes through, I'll cut you a check. You can move somewhere safer. Start over. The words hang in the air between them. Safer. Start over. Here, shoulder say. You think selling this place makes you safe? She asks quietly. You think walking away erases everything? What choice do I have? He snaps, frustration flaring. I am drowning in debt. The bank owns half my life. And this diner is a corpse I keep trying to resuscitate. This buyer's my only shot. She holds his gaze for a long, hard moment. Sometimes the person throwing you a rope is the one who pushed you in, she says. Just be careful who you sell to. He wants to ask what that means. Instead, he says Friday. 6 o'clock. Bank guy, potential buyer, maybe some city inspector. We need to make them believe this place has a future. Can you do that? Claire looks at Maddie, who is watching them both, eyes wide, sensing more than she understands. If I cook, Claire says slowly, and this works, and he buys the place, where do we go? He does not have an answer that does not make him feel like a coward. We'll figure something out, he says finally. You have my word. The week grinds forward. Ethan paints over scuff marks on the walls. Claire scrubs the grease trap until the metal shines. Maddie polishes silverware like she's rubbing wishes into each fork. At night, Ethan hears them in the office, Claire reading from a borrowed library book by the light of an old desk lamp, Maddie asking questions about happy endings like she does not quite believe in them anymore. On Thursday, as Claire is rolling dough for biscuits, Ethan catches a glimpse of a scar along her wrist, thin and pale, disappearing under her sleeve. He does not comment, but his stomach knots. Did you ever think about keeping the diner? She asks softly, not looking up. If things were different. He leans against the counter. I thought about it every day, he says. Then the bank statements come in, and reality slaps me in the face. What if reality was lying to you? She murmurs. He laughs once, without humor. Banks do not lie. They just collect. She does not argue, but there's something in her eyes that says she knows better. Friday arrives with gray skies and sleet threatening at the edges of town. Ethan paces the dining room, checking and rechecking everything. The lights are warm. The booths look inviting. The air smells like roasted chicken, fresh biscuits, something with herbs that makes the place feel expensive when it is not. At 5:45, Chase arrives with a woman in a navy blazer who introduces herself as Dana, a loan officer. They both smile the kind of professional smile you see a not read. Looks great in here, Chase says, clapping Ethan on the shoulder. Seriously, this is exactly the vibe he's looking for. Ethan asks, you still have not told me his name. Chase grins. Did not want to jinx it. He's on his way from Detroit. Big investor, some property group. Deep pockets. If this goes right, you walk away clean and maybe with a little leftover. The bell over the door jingles. Cold air rushes in along with a man in a tailored charcoal coat, gloves tucked into one hand, confidence walking in before him. His hair is perfectly styled, his smile wide and sharp. He shakes Dana's hand, then chases with the ease of someone used to making deals in rooms like this. Sorry I am late, he says smoothly. Traffic on 96 was a mess. He turns to Ethan. You must be Mr. Miller. Logan Price. Pleasure to finally meet. Ethan reaches out automatically, their hands meeting halfway. The moment their skin touches, Claire steps out from the kitchen, carrying a tray of appetizers. She sees the man's face. The tray slips from her fingers and crashes to the floor, ceramic and crackers shattering across the tile. Logan's smile freezes. For a second, all the color drains from his face before he pastes it back on. Claire, he says, voice dropping a full octave. What on earth are you doing here? Maddie peeks around the corner behind her mother, eyes going enormous. Ethan looks from Logan to Claire to Maddie, realization slamming into him like a truck he never saw coming. This is not just some investor. This is the storm that put them on the street. The room shrinks around them. The buzz of the lights, the clink of broken plates, the hiss from the grill in the back. Everything telescopes into the space between Claire and Logan. Claire stands very still, hands trembling, shards of ceramic at her feet. Maddie presses into her leg, clutching her jeans. I asked you a question, Logan says softly, but there's steel underneath. Why are you here? Ethan steps instinctively between them, anger hot at the base of his neck. She's cooking, he says. For tonight. She's trespassing. Logan snaps, the charm draining from his face. He turns to Dana and Chase with a practiced look of concern. I apologize for this. My ex-wife has issues. She's been following me, causing scenes, trying to interfere with my business. Claire flinches like the word ex-wife is a slap. That's not true, she says, voice barely above a whisper. Dana looks caught off guard. Chase's smile falters. This is not in the script he had in mind. Ethan's mind races. Ex-wife. Infestor. Homeless. Forced her onto the streets. Claire had almost said before cutting herself off. He looks at her. Claire, is this the man you were warning me about? She does not look away from Logan. He forged my signature, she says, each word slow, like she's pulling them through mud. On our house. On the equity loan. He emptied our savings and told me it was too late to do anything. When I confronted him, he called me unstable. Said nobody would believe a girl from shelter over a man with a suit and a mortgage. Her voice shakes. He locked me out, put my stuff in trash bags on the lawn. Told me if I made trouble, he'd take Maddie. So I left. Maddie's fingers dig harder into her leg. Logan laughs, a short, polished sound. You see what I am talking about? He says to Dana and Chase. Wild accusations. No proof. Just stories. This is exactly why I filed for full custody. You did what? Ethan demands. Logan ignores him. Mr. Miller, I understand you in a difficult financial position, he says smoothly, shifting gears like a pro. You need this sale to go through. I do not want her drama to ruin that for you. If you ask her to leave, we can sit down, have a nice dinner, talk numbers like adults. He looks Ethan straight in the eye, and in that gaze Ethan sees every landlord who ever smiled while raising the rent, every bank notice that came with a thanks for your business at the bottom. Claire's warning echoes in his head. Sometimes the person throwing you a rope is the one who pushed you in. His debts throb like a bruise. His father's framed picture on the wall watches him, silent. Maybe we should all sit, Dana says carefully. Emotions are running high. We here to assess a property, not mediate a family dispute. Logan nods, immediately back to his charming tone. Of course. That's reasonable. Claire can go wait outside until we redone. Claire's shoulders straighten. Her hands still shake, but her eyes harden. I'm not going outside, she says, and for the first time Ethan hears steel in her voice. You're not the only one with paperwork, Logan. Logan's smile twitches. What are you talking about? She reaches in her backpack, pulls out a worn folder, edges frayed, corners bent. She lays it on a clean table, sliding a few pages out with careful fingers. These are copies of our mortgage statements, she says, addressing Dana now. Original signatures. This one, she taps another page, is the loan application he filed after forging my name. I got them from the bank before he changed the passwords. Dana takes the papers, her professional mask snapping into place. Ethan sees the subtle shift in her eyes as she scans the documents. This is not the time or place, Logan begins. Claire talks over him, louder now. When I confronted him, he pushed me out of the house. He called the cops and told them I was dangerous, unstable, said I tried to hurt myself. They believed him. I left because I did not want Maddie caught in the middle. He told me I'd never prove anything because nobody takes a broke woman's word over a man with a credit score. Her voice cracks on the last sentence, but the words are out, hanging in the air like evidence. Logan steps toward her, eyes flashing. "That's enough," he hisses. "You re-upsetting my daughter." "She is my daughter too," Claire fires back. "And she has been sleeping behind restaurants because you decided a house without us looked better on Instagram." The room goes very quiet. Dana clears her throat. "Mr. Price," she says, tone cool now, "I am going to need to verify these documents with our system. If what Ms. Carter is saying is true, there may be irregularities in your file that affect our ability to proceed with your loan." Logan's jaw tightens. You seriously listening to her? She has been unstable for years. She walked out on her family. That's not what the timeline on these statements shows, Dana says calmly. You refinanced the home 3 days before Ms. Carter's name was removed from the account. Ethan watches Logan's face, the way he glances at Chase, then at Ethan, calculating, recalibrating. "This is getting out of hand," Logan says. He turns to Ethan, voice lowering, oily. "Look, you need this deal. I can still make it happen. I know people at other banks. We can route the loan somewhere else if this one suddenly has concerns. All you have to do is sign. Tonight, we put a clause in the contract that UV had squatters. I'll have them removed legally. You walk away with your money." She keeps spinning her crazy stories somewhere else. Everybody wins. Everybody except the woman who has been feeding him for a week and the kid who just started laughing again. Ethan's pen sits on the counter, right where he left it. The contract folder Chase brought lies open, pages crisp, signature line daring him. He reaches for the pen. Claire's eyes meet his, searching, desperate. "Ethan," she says quietly, "please." His fingers close around the pen anyway. Debt presses on him from every direction. Years of failure. Late notices. The shame of calling his sister for money that she does not have either. The thought of starting over from scratch at some chain restaurant, wearing someone else's apron, pretending it does not burn. If he signs, the pressure stops. The numbers zero out. He can breathe. He lifts the pen. His hand is shaking so hard he can barely see his own name. The tip of the pen hovers above the paper, a dot of ink forming like the start of a wound. Ethan stares at the blank line where his signature is supposed to go and suddenly sees it differently. Not as a lifeline, but as a surrender. Once he signs, this place is not just gone. His father's name, his family's work, the years he spent trying to honor them. All of it turns into another asset on a spreadsheet for a man who throws people out of their own homes. He puts the pen down. "No," he says. The word is small, but hits the room like a dropped plate. Logan's eyebrows shoot up. "Excuse me." "I said no." Ethan repeats, louder. His voice steadies. "I am not signing anything with you." Chase looks panicked. "Ethan, buddy, think about this. We talked about your numbers. You do not have other options." "Maybe I do not," Ethan says. "But I am not selling my diner, so it could be the next trophy in this guy's collection. Not if the money to buy it came from screwing over his own family. That's an accusation," Logan snaps. "And I will sue you for slander." Dana closes the folder with a soft thud. "Mr. Price, given what I've seen here, our bank is formally pausing your loan application pending a full review," she says. "I strongly suggest you refrain from making any legal threats in front of witnesses." "UCA not just, I can," she says. "And I have to. If there are forged signatures tied to your name, that's a criminal matter. I'll be forwarding these documents to our fraud department and, if necessary, the county prosecutor." Color creeps up Logan's neck. The polished investor mask slips, something uglier showing through. "You're all making a mistake," he says, turning to Ethan again, coaxing. "You think she told you everything? You do not know what she is capable of. She is using you. That's what she does." Ethan feels the old uncertainty try to creep back in. The voice that says, "You screw everything up. UCA not trust your own judgment. You read the guy who ran a successful diner straight into the ground." Then he remembers the last week. The way Claire quietly set aside the best pieces of chicken for Maddie. The way she labeled every container in the fridge even though nobody else was here to see it. The way she looked at his father's photo and wiped dust off the frame like it mattered to her too. If she is using him, she's doing a terrible job of it. You wrong, Ethan says calmly. I do know what she is capable of. She took a dead kitchen and made it smell like home again. She took my mess and made it look like a restaurant people might want to come back to. She did not ask me for anything except a chance to not freeze outside. You took her house. I am not letting you take my diner too. Logan laughs, but there is no humor left in it. What are you going to do, hero? Open this place by yourself? With what money? You already underwater. Ethan's heart is pounding, but beneath the fear there is a strange, clear sense of calm. The same feeling he had the day he first signed the lease, when this building was just a dusty box and a dream. He looks at Dana. If I do not sell to him, he asks, is there any way to restructure the loan? Different terms? Smaller payments? I know my history does not look great, but if I had the right partner in the kitchen and a little time. Dana studies him for a long moment. The banker mask softens just a little. I see I not promise anything tonight, she says. But I can tell you this. The bank is a lot more willing to work with someone who is not tied up in a fraud investigation. If you're serious about reopening, and you can show me a business plan that makes sense, I'll fight for you internally. She glances at Claire, and I'd like to hear more about this forged signature situation officially. Claire exhales like she has been holding her breath for months. I'll tell you everything, she says. I kept copies because I was too scared to throw them away. I thought they'd never matter. They matter now, Dana replies. Logan grabs his coat off the back of the chair. This is ridiculous, he snaps. He points at Claire. You think this is over? I am still Maddie's father. The court will be very interested in those documents, Dana cuts in. And in the fact that you abandoned your child's mother with no support. I suggest you consult an attorney. He glares at Ethan one last time. You'll regret this, he says. Maybe, Ethan says, but at least I'll be able to look at myself in the mirror. Logan storms out, the bell over the door jangling violently in his wake. For a long second, nobody moves. Then Maddie tugs on Ethan's sleeve. Does this mean we do not have to leave? She asks, voice small. He crouches down to her level. I do not want you to, he says. But that depends on your mom. Claire looks at him, eyes shining, skin pale with the adrenaline crash. Ethan, you just walked away from everything, she whispers. For us. I walked away from him, Ethan says. There's a difference. You still have debt, she says gently. I also have a kitchen, he replies. And someone who can cook. And a waiter in training. He nods at Maddie, who straightens proudly. If you willing. Claire laughs, a sound that's rusty but real. You want to reopen a failing diner with a homeless line cook and a 9-year-old hostess? 10, Maddie says quickly. I am 10. Sorry. 10-year-old hostess, Ethan amends. And no, I do not want to reopen a failing diner. I want to build a new one. With you, as my head cook, and my partner. The word hangs there, partner. Not charity, not guest. Equal. Claire looks down at her hands. For so long, they've been busy surviving, holding trash bags with her clothes, clutching Maddie's backpack, scraping together meals from whatever was free. The idea of signing her name to something that belongs to her too feels impossible. I do not have money to invest, she says. Just skills, recipes, and a bunch of paperwork that might get my ex arrested. Those sound like pretty good assets to me, Ethan says. I'll talk to Dana about the rest. Dana smiles vaguely. Write up a partnership agreement, she says. Put both your names on it. It'll look good when I argue your case. 2 incomes. Shared responsibility. Claire swallows hard. What about Maddie? She asks. Logan was not bluffing about court. He already filed once. I never showed up because I was scared they'd take her from me. You have proof he defrauded you, Dana says. That changes a lot. I'll give you the number of a legal aid attorney who handles family law. Between the forged documents and witness statements about how you've been living, you have a strong case. Claire's eyes fill. For the first time, the tears do not look like defeat. They look like something new. Relief, maybe, or the first fragile hint of safety. Maddie slips her hand into Ethan's. If we stay, she says, can I have the corner booth by the window? He laughs, feeling something loosen in his chest. Kiddo, that booth has practically got your name on already. Months later, Maple Ridge wakes to the buzz of a new neon sign. Same old building, same big windows, but the words have changed. The Miller Family Diner logo has a new line underneath in smaller letters. Miller and Carter. Inside, the place hums. The once-dead Friday night rush has come back to life. Locals crowd the booths, drawn by rumors of a home-style menu that actually tastes like someone cares. The air smells like Claire's lemon chicken and biscuits, like coffee and cinnamon and second chances. Ethan moves through the room with a coffee pot in hand, topping off cups, greeting regulars by name. He is tired in a different way now, busy, not beaten. In the kitchen, Claire commands the line with calm precision, calling out orders, flipping pans, sliding plates into the pass. She wears a simple black apron and a new wedding band that glints where she wipes her hands. There are laugh lines around her eyes now. Near the front, Maddie, dressed in a kid-sized host apron, hands out menus with serious concentration. Every so often, she glances at the door like she is making sure certain ghosts stay out. When they do, her shoulders relax. The bell rings and Dana steps in, snow melting on her blazer. Ethan waves her over, pours her a cup of coffee on the house. She nods toward the packed dining room. Looks like that business plan worked out, she says. Could not have done it without you, he replies. And without her, Dana adds, nodding toward the kitchen window where Claire is plating something that looks like art made of mashed potatoes. At a corner table, a woman from the county prosecutor's office reviews a folder of documents with a family law attorney. Logan's name is on the first page. The attorney catches Claire's eye and gives a small, reassuring nod. Later that night, after the last customers leave and the chairs go upside down on the tables again, the three of them stand in the middle of the quiet diner. Ethan, Claire, and Maddie. Remember the first night we were here? Ethan asks. Empty place. No lights. Cold enough to see your breath. Claire smiles. You fed us, she says. With food you thought nobody wanted anymore. And you fed me, he replies. With one meal that reminded me this place was not dead yet. Maddie wrinkles her nose. That is kind of gross, Dad, she says, but she is grinning. The word Dad slips out like it has been waiting on her tongue. Ethan freezes for half a heartbeat, then laughs softly. Yeah, he says. I guess it is. Claire reaches for his hand. Their fingers intertwine, easy and sure. Outside, the new sign flickers once and then glows steady. Inside, the tables are clean, the kitchen prepped for morning, the air warm. A single meal once exposed a lie, a betrayal, and a past both of them tried desperately to escape. Now, one meal at a time, they read building something else, a place where the past does not own them anymore, and the future finally tastes like their own.